Let's give Miss Mary another round of applause, please. Now we welcome to the stage our next set of panelists. We're going to be discussing second chance in criminal justice reform. Please welcome to the stage our panelists. Please give them a round of applause.
Good afternoon. Again, welcome and thank you for being here. What a great opportunity to listen to Jack Brewer this afternoon during lunch and those inspiring words. And he always calls us to do what we know we should be doing. That's making a positive difference in the lives of others through our worship of Jesus Christ. So thank you, Jack, for the opportunity. And I was supposed to be a panelist, but as Jack say, Derek, you're going to do you're going to moderate this, so get ready. So we're always prepared, always got a pocket speech, always ready to go. So we're going to talk about second chances today, and not just 1 minute or less about me, because we only got a short period of time. But again, I'm Derek Schofield. I'm an Executive Vice President for the GEO Group. My focus with GEO Group is on reentry and rehabilitation. I throw a couple of numbers at you. 1.8 million, 380,000. 600,000 in, 600,000 out. So the 1.8 million number of people we have incarcerated. That's an estimate, but pretty close. 380,000, that's the number of black folks we got incarcerated, in our country. 600,000, that's how many people we bring into the prison system each year. 600,000, about that is the numbers that go out of the door each year. Those are the people that are coming back home to be our neighbors, our family members coming back to say, hey, I'm home. And we hope, but hope is not a method. We want them coming back to be better than they were when they went in. We lock a lot of people up. My career after the military was to work in the prison system. I've been working with the prison system, including my time with GEO, for about 35 years. I was the number 2 guy in Georgia for a while. I ran the state of Tennessee in corrections for about 7 years. And for the last 9 years, working with the GEO Group. So I know a little bit about what incarceration is. And believe me, when I tell you that the folks that are actually incarcerated, it's tough. People talk about good prisons. Prisons they're not good or bad prisons. Prisons are prisons. And every one is a place you don't want to be. Unfortunately, there are some people that go to prison that should be there for a long time. But most of the people that go to prison will come home. And before we jump to this panel, I want to toss my philosophy out there. I want to talk about how do we improve second chances for folks coming out of prison? How do we improve the recidivism rate? It's one big thing that we continue to miss. We talk about reentry. Well, I toss the philosophy out there about no entry. Let's stop people from coming in that door. Let's reduce those 600,000 people coming in. And that's a guaranteed success of reentry because they don't come out. If you don't go in, you don't have to worry about reentry. So let's really continue to focus on that. God knows the folks in there need help coming out. And we've got to do things that make a difference, that they don't come out. They come out better and not bitter. And that's important. And that we don't take hope away. So I'm blessed and fortunate today to work with some folks on this stage that have been around for a long time. And they're going to get a chance to tell their story. And then we'll get into a few questions about how can we do things better to improve where we are and make it better. I believe in making a positive difference in the lives of others every single day. And that makes us better. So let's start down here with an introduction with Dr. Sam.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just very happy to be here. I'm Dr. Topeka K. Sam, founder and CEO of the Ladies of Hope Ministries. We have an epic vision to end poverty and incarceration of women and girls globally. We do our work by two pillars. One is direct service and sustainability. The other is advocacy and engagement. We know that we can't advocate for ourselves or anyone else unless our basic human rights are met first, which is access to safe and affordable housing and equitable opportunity in a growth-focused career, healthy food, and just being able to live and heal. And so I learned about all of these, and why I started my organization in 2015 was post my own federal incarceration. While I was in the feds, I saw all the things that were happening specifically to women and girls. And while I have visited men incarcerated, we often think that, only men go to prison, and we often only hear about that. But when I was in the county jail in Virginia and I met the women who were there, many whom came from low socioeconomic backgrounds, black, white, brown, and then when I was sentenced and went to federal prison and was incarcerated with doctors, lawyers, senators, and judges, high socioeconomic backgrounds in education. Everyone had the same issues when they came home. They didn't know where they would live. They didn't know what career they would be able to get into. And so when I was released early in 2015, we don't have enough time for me to share the entire story, but by the grace of God, I got out in 3 years and not 11 years, which is what I was originally sentenced to. I came home and I hit the ground running, started my organization and wanted to share the voices and the faces of women that I met. And so started a program, Faces of Women in Prison, where over 200 women have graduated from that program to share their stories. And we have impacted to date over 7,000 women and girls with 0% recidivism. We run housing initiatives in New York, Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland, New Orleans, Louisiana, Miami, Florida, and Detroit, Michigan, and impact women in Trinidad and Tobago, and impact women and girls in 34 states around the country. So that's just a little bit about me and what I do.
I just want to say my name is Elmo. Now, my name is Elmo Golden, though. I'm the founder of a program called Dignity Speaks. I sit on the Department of Juvenile Justice in the state of Florida, the state advisory group. I do a podcast called Delta Prison Podcast. That's it's everywhere you want to find it. It deals with men and women that are actively, not just guys that are incarcerated or women that are incarcerated, but are actively serving in our community. I also want to add that I am a proud dad with family reunification through the Jack Brewer Foundation with my daughter, and also I've got a chance to reunify myself back to my dad through the GEO group. I want to throw that in. And also the last thing I'd like to say that I'm the program manager for the Jack Brewer Foundation, responsible for the education program, which I'm the most proud of. So I want to thank you guys for having me. I served 22 years in prison, and I hope the people that I've engaged already that don't know that, y'all forgive me. I know you've been having a wonderful time and wonderful conversation. And I'm going to leave you with this, just to leave you with something to think about, that I went to prison for shooting a man over $2. I want you to think about that.
Before, just so I don't lose this thought, Elmo, you said for those I've engaged and I hadn't shared with you that I went to prison, that I had been in prison. He apologized. Don't apologize. You don't have to put something on your head and say, hey, I'm ex-offender or whatever. You're Elmo. I'll tell you that every time. Don't wear that. We get enough labels. Don't put one on yourself or feel you need to tell somebody something. They meet you where they are. And that's how they approach you. You're doing great, man. You know you're a brother.
Amazing, Elmo. I'm Major Wright. I'm born and raised in Fort Lauderdale. I went to the University of Florida. I won a national championship in 2008 with Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, arguably one of the best teams to play college football. Then I got drafted to Chicago Bears. I played 4 years, go Chicago, bear down, baby. I played 4 years in Chicago, then went to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played 3 years in Tampa. And once my career was over, now I'm currently an entrepreneur, philanthropist. I have a prevention program, right? We talked about this. It's a prevention program called Good Deed Tuesday, where every Tuesday the kids get to go to school and intentionally be kind to each other. We have lessons about empathy. gratitude, citizenship. It breaks it down in terms where these kids can understand and digest it and start using it in their day-to-day life. So that's one program. Then I have another program called Major Impact, and this here is for prison, right? And as we know, this here gonna help rehabilitate these prisoners to get them back out here into society and come out here and start enjoying life just like a regular human being. And this is gonna make the impact that we need to have these guys come out of prison, or women come out of prison, and make the impact in the world and continue to make this thing go. That's what I have.
All right. Fellow veteran.
My name is Daryl Gilbert. My name is Daryl Gilbert, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Florida Justice Center. At the Florida Justice Center, we provide legal services to those that have been impacted by the criminal justice system. We do everything to provide legal services to remove those obstacles that when guys get out of prison, guys and women get out of prison, that they can get jobs, employment, housing. We help records get sealed and expunged, probation termination modification, driver's license reinstatement. Like what Jack was talking about yesterday, we help with child support and things like that. I also work with the GEO group. I work in GEO group as a continuum care, where we provide services to those in custody and out of custody to provide services that when they do transition out, that they can be better individuals. I also sit on the board of the Barrett Blessing Foundation, which is a military organization. I'm a military Army veteran. I actually was stationed here in Fort Meade, about 30 minutes down the road here in DC for a while. I worked at the NSA. We provide legal our mental health, our veteran organization provides suicide prevention and isolation among veterans. So we try to stop suicide and isolation among veterans. Also, through my journey, I was incarcerated. And I had the opportunity to be incarcerated at the GEO facility. So I actually was incarcerated, the same facility that I was incarcerated with, now I work for. Go back inside to those facilities throughout, the United States. I'm telling my story, be an example to the guys. Talk about the father program that Jack is doing, which is just changing, just making a difference. Because guys going in there have a program like the Jack Brewer program and the GEO Group program, and then they can see an example. Somebody that who's inside the fence with him, did the things with him, and can come out here and know that the opportunity that Jack just not talking, Derek just not talking, is happening out here. So that's what we do.
Wow. Thank you each for sharing that, but Darryl, Elmo, Dr. Sam, thank you all for the disclosure, for sharing that. If I was just a guy on the street, didn't know you all, I'd say, man, they're doing pretty good. Look good, stand up, speaking well. So what's the secret in the sauce? What are we doing? How do we get more people in your shoes?
Well, first, God. I think we all can lose our way sometimes. And I was raised in the church. I always knew who God was. My father was a deacon and a minister, and I played piano for the choir and all the things, and I was choir director in the jail, so there's that. But God is the center of my life, and God has been the center of my life. And I was very fortunate having a great family and support system when I was in and when I came home. And so another part of that secret sauce is your community. It's who's there for you. No one can transition out of anything unless they have someone on the other side of it, whether it is the military, whether it is college, whether it's homelessness, or whether it's incarceration. You need support on the other side of that. And so for me, I had a great deal of support. I came home and I was able to come home to a safe place, which was with my parents. While I didn't want to be there, I was 40. And it was the first time I lived with my parents since I left for college at 18, so it was a struggle. I thank God I was able to get out of there after a year and get my own place. But because I was able to have somewhere safe to live, I didn't have to pay bills. It allowed me the opportunity to focus on what I felt God wanted me to do, which was create my organization. So the first thing I did was mirrored my programs after my own reentry. And so I bought a house. And I let women stay there for up to a year without having to pay bills. They do a savings contribution plan. So they give up to 30%, no more than $300 a month. And then we give them back 50% of what they contributed for when they go on to their next step. We give them upskills, we teach them, everything that they need, and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. All of us have had a different experience in incarceration. My 3 years, I went in, it was an iPhone 3, I came out, it was an iPhone 5. Things weren't really different for me. But there are sisters in my program that they've gone in and there was a pager. And they come out and now they have to learn how to use technology. They have to learn, how to navigate these systems. And so I think even as a people, can't keep just looking at it as their issue. With women specifically, there's been an 800% increase in the incarceration rate of women and girls. Today, women are sentenced to life at double the rate of men. And for the same crimes, women are incarcerated longer than men are. And we don't hear about this. We hear about decarceration efforts, but there's still an uptick in women. And so for women, which is what I advocate for, and where my work is centered, that women, we hold the community, we hold the family. When brothers are in, it's women that go visit them typically. It's mothers that hold down the children. And so I think success is building community, is creating opportunities and having resources for other people, and providing people with truly a chance, because some didn't have one chance.
Thank you. Working in the prison system, I was a warden for 13 years at different facilities. On visitation day on Saturday, you go into the male prison, you got all the moms, the wives, the girlfriends, the kids, they're full in visitation room full. When I would go and visit at the female prison on visitation day, it was bare. Wow. So these guys, they expect the support, but on the flip side, when it's their mom or their girlfriend, they didn't support the same. So thank you for just staying strong and knowing and getting through that. So man, you dudes, man. Anyway, Elmo, and I always wanted to say that to the guys, and I did. So Elmo, what's your secret, please?
My secret was simple. I did get out and I went to a transition home. I thought I was really prepared to enter society with the tools that I learned through the program. But I may be probably the most blessed one on the panel. Because I moved in the house with Jack Brewer. Y'all didn't catch that, did you?
You said you moved in the house with Jack Brewer.
I live in the house with Jack Brewer. I didn't need a whole bunch of reentry. Now, I'm just saying that. But no, I'm not just saying that. I actually live with Jack Brewer. After doing my time, I moved in the house with him, his family, with his wife, his kids, everything else. And that was one of the best things that could ever happen to me, because it did give me the same opportunity to breathe. I think when we look at it, reentry, let me do this real quick. Can you guys just stand up real quick? Come on, y'all wasting your time. Y'all know Pastor over here ain't playing about his time. Now, if you have a car, sit down. If you have a house, sit down. And where to live. You have food, sit down. Okay, everybody got on those. So how is it, amen? So how is it that you can believe part of reentry? We're trying to change reentry. How is it that you believe by having just food, clothing, shelter, some transportation is really what somebody needs as part of reentry when you need that? You've never been incarcerated. So how is it now that since you don't need it, you think that's good for us? We have to start doing a mental deep dive into the people that are getting out. And so that's the best thing about having panels like this. We understand that mental wellness, mental health is better than anything, any program that we can have, because if you give it to me, can I manage it? Can I maintain it? Can I make it grow to where I can give somebody else, where I can reach down and pull somebody else up? So my secret sauce was that I believed in God, and I put everything in God. I put the trust in it. You're literally looking at a dead man. I don't wake up in the morning trying to figure out what I need to do. I don't go to sleep without somebody else on my mind. I get up every morning simply to serve. That's my reentry.
Great. When we talk about hot button issues, we talk about the reentry piece. I remember probably about 10, 15 years ago, the catchphrase was, meaningful employment and suitable housing. You know, that's going to keep people out of prison. How many people have jobs and a place to stay that still get locked up? You know, they get out, you get them in a house. So something has to click. Something has to change. And Major, you want to talk a little bit about your prevention programs, and we'll go from there.
So I grew up in a really rough neighborhood where the drug house was across the street, where we had the gambling house, we had drive-bys here and there. So I thought growing up like that was, you know, how life's supposed to be. But in the real world, it's not a safe environment. What kept me focused and locked in was actually football. That saved my life. Literally, football saved my life. Because I got homeboys, literally, who's doing life. Right now, I got homeboys. I used to have homeboys come to my house. Hey, bro, we going on this lick. You coming? Nah, I can't. I got football in the morning. So literally, football saved my life. It gave me an ability, it gave me an opportunity to expose myself to so many resources. And now, me being able to now give back the way that I'm giving back, pouring into our kids, pouring into the people in general. All of us in this room, our mission on this earth is to help. I don't care who you are, what business you own, your business is helping. And I want to be able to help and push, teach these kids, right, about kindness. They don't understand what they're doing. They don't know wrong from right. They don't have anybody to look up to. So now I can give these kids hope. I can teach them how to be kind. Because we know we have a lot of adults who don't even know what kindness is. So we teach our kids that. That's how we can start our foundation. We can build from there.
You know, things that we know sound pretty basic, pretty simple. You know, growing up, you did what your parents told you. You know, you didn't do, I'm older than most of you, you didn't do a lot of back talk, or you would have a knot upside your head. And, you know, they didn't have defects being called back then, but you know, those things kind of kept us on the straight and narrow. So you think about our kids today and our brothers and sisters as we raise them with the community. You know, we go back to no entry. It's not one individual, one family. It has to be everybody. So it takes a community. The old saying, it takes a village. Well, that's still true. You know, why do we think it changed? Because technology changed. The family is the core of what we do. When we have absent fathers, absent parents, absence of God, you know, those things impact negatively, and we got to continue to do better. So thank you for being involved. So move over here to Darryl real quick. You know, you're the veteran. You know, you're a soldier. Cool. You know, give me one.
It's a lot of trauma in prison. It's a lot of trauma that everybody in prison that probably was in prison because of the trauma that they faced. And like Elmo, I didn't have the opportunity to live with Jack, but what helped with that trauma is when Jack coming to the prison. You know what I mean? It gives you the opportunity to start dealing with that trauma. To understand that, you know, I wasn't a good father. What I needed to do would be a better dad. Why I was not a good father. Why I was in so many multiple relationships trying to find love in so many different women. Why did I feel like money was what needed to make me feel whole or content? You know what I mean? Why did I get more gratification from the streets than I did from my own family? So I had to deal with that trauma. So when programs like the Jack Brewer program come in, or programs that the Geo Group come in, you know what I mean, and going to church, because, you know, I wouldn't be where I was without a praying mother. You know what I mean? My mom prayed for me every day. You know, when I called, we weren't talking on the phone, she was praying. You know, like, but Mom, I got a question for you. Hold up, you know, I ain't through praying yet. You know what I mean? But I ain't got but 15 minutes, you know what I mean? When the phone say, you got 60 seconds, that's when she say amen. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was blessed to have a praying mama, but, you know, to be able to deal with that trauma. You know, the Bible says that our people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. You know, programs that comes in, like Jack program, it gives you that knowledge to be successful. It gives you that knowledge to learn that, you know, I got to separate myself from the guys that's inside prison, that's not trying to go on the right path, or not trying to make a difference, you know what I mean? Because while I was in prison, I just wanted to serve. You know, I was blessed to have an opportunity to be a certified officer. You know, I was blessed to have an opportunity to reduce sentences for over 100 people while I was incarcerated. Florida Supreme Court, when I was at Blackwater, the Florida Supreme Court accepted some decisions that we made that changed the post-conviction rule to help my fellow inmates to be able to have their sentences reduced. So all that happened, but I had to deal with that trauma that I had. So in between my time of working the job that I had inside the prison system, you know what I mean? When I heard that programs like Jack was coming in, signed me up, I wanted to be a part of those programs. Because a lot of times, we don't get the love and the satisfaction from our family members because those are a lot of people that we hurt. So we got to be able to get that familyhood back, you know what I'm saying? And that comes from people like Jack when he comes in because now you got a brother. You got somebody who you can talk to, who you come in, elbow them coming in. The GEO group, as a consultant for the GEO group, when I first got out, I became a post-release case manager. And I had the opportunity to provide resources. GEO group pays your rent when you first get out. They will pay your rent for up to 3 to 4 months. They will pay your rent. They will buy you clothes. They will buy you transportation. If you need mental health services, they will pay for that mental health services. If you need substance abuse services, they will pay for that substance abuse services. So if you wanted that service, you can have it, you know what I mean? And then you have programs like with Elmo, with Jack's program, got plenty of houses all over the state somewhere where you can store. A comfortable Christian environment where Jack don't play by his house now. You know what I mean? You go to one of Jack's houses, he might show up at any time trying to figure out who in his house.
All right. What I want to do, we got about 4 minutes.
Okay, all right, cut me off then, cut me off.
I didn't cut you off there.
Cut me off. Yeah.
But I told you I was going to cut you off.
Yeah, so
Definitely did. That's for sure.
I love talking about reentry. I love talking about where I'm at now. Life is beautiful.
So what I want to do really is to give everybody a one distance question. So you get about 30 to 45 seconds. You see how they're going to stay within that rule. What changed to get you where you are right now?
Well, I changed. I utilized all of the brilliance and the skill set and the education and the resources and the friends and the family and the mentors, and I used it for God's good. So that's exactly what it was. I had to do the work, and I had to put the work in, and it hasn't been an easy journey, but God has allowed me to do this, but it was not alone. And so I think everybody just needs to understand and underscore, we've all shared that we've had community and support. So no one can do this alone.
Thank you. Elmo?
And I'll be brief. I got to give the GEO group all their props. Why did I say I said I'll be brief and start laughing. I have to because I was living in a prison called Okeechobee, and it had a heartbeat to it. Life, death, life, death, life, death. And I stayed there for 10 years. By the time, and I fought to actually get into the GEO group because they didn't want to let me go. And I shared this story with some of the members in the corporation that when I got there, you can see me saying, well, the whole culture changed, but they're not calling me inmate and this and that, and then calling me sir. They're treating me like a person. That's what changed first. The second thing is that I had a desire to work on water treatment. They didn't have that particular program at the GEO group. I said I want to take water treatment. They bought the books, the calculators, they paid for everything. They even paid for me to be transferred from another camp to take the proctor test. So those two things actually changed my life and made me more ambitious. The third thing was when I got out, when I came home, they welcomed me in. In my mind, a saved man, I still believe that corporation was a monster. That they wanted to make money off of me and they wanted to send their children to school and leave my kids behind. But by the time I walked in that office, I was totally surprised. I found out that there were people there. So now one of my major jobs is to build bridges between corporation and those that are incarcerated, that we are one. This man called me in the office and we formed a circle and started praying, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was still judging people after I'm the offender and calling them something that degrading them when they want to be family. That changed my life. And that's what's got to change it with us. Stop looking at those that are incarcerated that actually commit crimes over $2 because they have no moral value. They don't understand what ethics are. They don't get involved in literature or civics, which was provided by that institution. It changed my whole mind. This is why I'm here. because of what they done. And so I just want to give them props again. And I'm telling you, by the time we get through building this bridge, it'll be so strong that it'll actually be a tower back to every institution, every compound on this state, to where we'll realize that my brothers and sisters are back there and I need to go get them. So I thank you for that.
I think mine would probably be just grace, man. I just thank God for God's grace. The Bible said, yet when I was young and now I'm old, have I seen the righteous forsaken or a seed begging bread. I'm just thanking happy for grace.
Thank you. Well, we're trying to stay within. We got about 44 seconds. So I want to say thank you all. I mean, to the bottom. I left my own purpose. I'm coming back. So I want to say thank you all for sharing that story. Very positive, very strong. But I say to the audience, to the folks here, is that we have to do better. When we say we're doing what we can do, we can always do more. You know, we can always make a commitment that, you know, I'm gonna go and visit the prison. I'm gonna go and see for myself what they're talking about. You know, I work in 2 state systems in Tennessee and Georgia, and working with the private company, and not just because I work here, and Jack and others will tell you, I hold them all accountable for what's important. And what's important are these folks. Because, you know, when I first started working in prison, my folks said, man, what are they like? What do you mean, what are they like? They're like us. They're people. You know, they got 10 fingers, 10 toes. You know, they walk and they breathe. And that's what we lose focus, because we don't get to see them every day. They don't matter as much, but they should matter more. And again, what should matter is that we stop folks from having the label of a reentrant, of an offender, and we have no entry as much as possible. And I leave that with our NFL superstar to give the last word, tell us, why are you on the stage?
I'm on the stage because I almost committed suicide after my NFL career, literally, you know, and things went all the way left for me. I ended up going financially broke, didn't know where my next meal gonna come from, didn't know nothing. But one day I had just got done working out and I seen a homeless guy laying on the ground, and I walked right by him. I'm like, man, I haven't done anything good for anybody lately. So I go back to the homeless guy, wake him up. I say, hey bro, can I take you to get something to eat? I wanted to know why he was in that situation. 2, this gonna be me potentially laying on this ground. And then 3, what it feel like to have somebody walk right by you and act like you're not even human. So we ended up picking the spot, and now this guy is opening up to me. He's like, Major, the reason I'm in this situation, I did 10 years in prison, and when I got out, I had nobody to lean on. So that rocked my world, because all the resources I've accumulated along my journey is crazy, but this guy across from me, he don't have one person he can call and say, bro, I need you, or I need you. And that shook me. So I say, hey bro, what can I do to help you right now in this situation? He say, man, I'm trying to get my ID. If I get my ID, I'll be able to get a job. If I get a job, I'll be able to provide for myself. So I'm like, what? All this man needs is a simple plastic $25 ID to propel his life? So I say, listen bro, I got a couple dollars in my account. I'm gonna give it to you on faith. You're gonna do right by it. I go to the ATM, I give him the money, and when I leave y'all, my whole entire life changed. Literally, it changed. I was walking home and felt like God had rebirthed me. I've never felt this feeling a day in my life. I done won championships, I done been drafted, I done all that. But this one feeling right here, I've never felt. And I wanted more of it. So every Tuesday, I took it upon myself to go out in the community, and I was chasing that feeling. I was going to go get it. So I started this thing called Good Deed Tuesday. So now every Tuesday, I'm being intentional about what I'm doing. I'm giving back in that form. And that's my purpose on this earth, is now to give back in this form. Football is done, but being kind is not.
Great job, Dr. Pamela. Give them a round of applause. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank y'all.